Hey, this is Politics with Laura, to where everything is politics. Whether if it's here locally in the US or if it's international, you will get the true news because I use newspapers from around the world. Politicians here or politicians over there, or if there's a war here or a war over there, I would make sure that you know about it. This is a tough one here. I This decision that Biden made has divided the country even more. Now this country is being divided in different ways, and we're being tossed all over the place. Now, we have to look at, was Brittany Griner worth the squeeze? And when I say worth the squeeze, was she worth, and yeah, she's a human being. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying on the political realm. If you compare and contrast the two, which one would, if you were not looking at the politics, which one would have been brought home first? Was it someone who was accused of espionage and when they were not, and they were wrongfully imprisoned? Or would you bring home someone who admitted to committing a crime on foreign soil? Now, I'm not going to get into that she's black. I'm not going to get into that she's a lesbian. I'm not going to get into any of those identity politics. Identity politics does not help at all. It just causes more problems. However, I will say that we should look at the Constitution and allow that to guide us and not be led by our emotions. Emotions are never good to be led by because they always change. You're happy one second, you're crying the next. So, what do you think? Oh, matter of fact, I'm going to put a poll on my community page. Could you please just check, not me, you. So go on my community page and do the survey. Who should have been brought home, Brittany Griner or Paul Whelan? Oh, like and subscribe. They're free. Help a sister out. Now, this is um, Paul Whelan, and he's a United States Marines, and he was over in Russia. He was charged with espionage, which he denied, and he was charged, I think, what was it, 13 to 18 years in a Russian prison. Brittany Griner, she pled guilty to having drugs and was supposed to do 9 years in jail. However, um, this I'm trying so hard not to do comparisons, but he has been in the United States military or the Marines for over 20 years, and he has put um he's upholding the United States Constitution. He's out there fighting for what the United States believes to be, which is a threat, whatever that may be. Now, we may agree or disagree with the reasons why the military goes out. Now, there are some people who believe that we have no business going out doing any and everything that what we do out there and using the military and our people and tax dollars. Okay. There are others who believe that the military should go out and to be able to secure our interests, whatever that interest may be. That right there is not what we should be focusing on at all. That should be over to the sides. Now, when I look at this deal, I have to ask the question, was this a good deal? Did Biden do a good negotiation or did he negotiate well? He has a merchant of death, an international arms dealer that supplied arms with some of the most, and these are my words, brutal regimes or warlords, whatever you want to call them, and he provides them for cash. And then you look at Britney Griner. Now, this gentleman right here, he is glad that Britney Griner had the opportunity to come home, but they have been working for his release since 2018. And as soon as they get an opening, he was not chosen. So we have to stop and we're going to have to stop and really look at what this says to Americans. Now, Brittany Griner is free, yes, but now when you look at people who love their country and whom put their life and limb to keep us safe from um, enemies within our borders and afar. When you look at this deal, do you think that there's going to be people who will be willing to put their hand out and say, yes, I'm going to volunteer to protect this country, now knowing that this country is not going to protect me? They're going to negotiate for a Brittany Griner. What do you think? What do you think? Now, behind me is Brittany Griner. And I'm going to take a different look at this. I actually went to Russian newspapers because I knew there was more to this whole situation than what was being said. And we are not looking at the big picture here. We're looking at the small picture. We're looking at that she's black. She belongs to the LGBTQ community. She's a basketball player. She made many stances that she did not like America. She didn't stand for the flag. And of course, America, we do have our own issues, but this right here is bigger than black and white. This is much bigger than our disagreements, history, whatever you want to call it. We need to put that aside. We need to look at the big picture. I found this in OMG. All right. This right here was put out 23 minutes ago. And it is, what is this? Oh man, December 9th. 420 on the Eastern Coast, Eastern Standard Time. So I don't know what time it is over there in Russia. So this is what it says, Moscow Times, and I'll leave this link in the description box. American basketball star Britney Griner returned to the United States after she was released from a Russian prison in exchange for an arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death. Griner's family in a WNBA rejoiced at the news that the star athlete imprisoned in Russia on drug charges had come to an end. Russian foreign minister, meanwhile, said it had worked hard to rescue our compatriots, Victor Bout, okay? A notorious arm dealer accused of arming rebels in some of the world's bloodiest conflicts. Okay. But the Biden administration's willingness to give up bout for Griner, who was charged for carrying vapor cartridges with a small quantity of cannabis oil, sparked worries that Washington's adversaries could capture American citizens abroad to use as bargaining chips. Okay. And Moscow has dismissed the idea that the swap reflects a any wider thralls in ties between the U.S. and Russia, which are a historical low after the Russian invasion in Ukraine. Russian state um, news agencies published photos of the exchange as well as images of Griner in the remote prison colony where she served several weeks of her sentence before being freed. Jeez. Oh, okay. I'll make sure that you get the. I'll put these pictures in. Hmm. This is interesting. Now they have Victor Bout. It's like how you see in the movies, to where you see, the one side is over here, the other side is over here, and they're making the exchange. So you're gonna see Brittany walking here and Victor Bout walking there, so he could go back to Russia, and Brittany's going back to the United States. So Victor Bout, second from the right, is seen on the airport on the airport tarmac in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, ahead of his departure for Russia. Bao, who was sentenced to 25 years in prison for conspiring to kill U.S. citizens and officials, was freed from a U.S. prison in exchange for Griner, who was sentenced in August to 9 years in a Russian penal colony for drug smuggling. Okay. And this is who they left behind, and that was um, Paul Whelan. Whelan is a United States.